Into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of the show is brought to you by Badger Tree Care. Got a tree that's become a problem? Call Trevor Barth at Badger Tree Care, your trusted insured tree service professional serving Clark and surrounding counties. Make sure you check him out there. He does fantastic work. You see some of the pictures of stuff that he does out there. You got this massive tree in your backyard. Maybe you don't like it anymore. He comes in, takes care of it. It looks like that tree was never even there. You might have the pictures from it, but outside of that, you wouldn't know it if you looked at it. That's what kind of work he does. He's fantastic. Call him up there. Badger Tree Care, Trevor Barth down there. So Ummer is back here, hour number 2 of the show. We were talking about the Packers when we went to the break there, and I was talking about Christian Watson, and I said, we've been talking about the Packers missing a wide receiver 1 for years now.
Yeah.
I think it's because he's been hurt. I think it is.
Yeah, 100%.
He's there. It's just he's been hurt. So now can he stay healthy? I would please stay healthy, because when he's out there, he's fantastic. He's dominant. He's just a game changer out there on the field in every facet. Blocking. I mean, they asked him, they said, Christian, what's going on in the run game? And he said, I'm not blocking good enough. I told that Josh Jacobs, I'm not doing my part.
Yeah, he could have had a touchdown on that.
And it's like that's how the unselfish play of this guy, and yet he's still as good as what he is. I mean, Ummer, what are your thoughts? You had some thoughts on Christian Watson you were talking about. What are some of your thoughts on him?
The one part was when he had that second touchdown, he literally looked like, how like you said, like, Jordan looked at him and then like Watson looked back at him. It looks like Watson is literally looking at Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and he's waving at him.
He did. Like he pointed out there and he
waved at him like bye. Like he knew it. He's like bye, and then he takes that slant, and it was like the Philadelphia game, and in 2022 when he came in and he housed that slant to the in Philly. That was an awesome run too.
It was the same play call. It was basically the same play call as they had in that one. It's just like you came off of the Lions game. You can't go man-to-man with this team. There is no team across football right now that I've seen so far. And the Denver Broncos have pretty good defense. So we're going to find out coming up this weekend here what this Packers offense is really made of in that game. But we saw it against the Lions. They tried to go man. What happened? Matt LaFleur said, you want to go man? Here it is. And Jordan Love, like we were talking about when we went to the break, has such good command of that offense right now and such good play. Like, he's so good seeing the coverage with the hot routes, everything like that, calling blitzers, upping his protection, whatever it is. He's reading the game so much better right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. That's just the steps that you want to see him take. There is one step. I just want to say this because I just came to my head off of Jordan Love. There is one step that I have to nitpick and I want to complain. I just want to see him lead receivers just a little bit more.
Yeah, I get that.
I just want to see him because the one to Bo Melton, I know it was a heck of a throw to Bo Melton. It was a beautiful throw. Everything was beautiful, but he just underthrew it just a little bit. And it actually made the Bears corner, I can't remember who it was, but actually let him get close to catching up to that, right?
Yeah,
and it's just those kind of throws are the ones where it's like, okay, you made it, but it's like if you just lead him a little bit, you can hit him in stride. You have such talent at the wide receiver room, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks has really good separation, Matthew Golden, that if you could just hit them in stride, they could blow teams out of the water. Like they could just go for it. But it's like some of those throws, guys have to come back to it. Christian Watson's got to catch it with two guys around him, that kind of stuff. So I don't want to nitpick because I think he's playing like 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he still have people saying that he still makes ill-advised throws. I don't even know what that means. He has 4.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I mean, he does is good enough.
So he's having a great year. He, like Colin Cowherd said, and I said it off the top of the show. I said Colin Cowherd said it greatest. He said he's the only great quarterback in the league that they won't crown as great. That's the only thing. He will not admit that he's good. Yep. I think it's because he plays for the Packers. That's all I have to say. But anyways, we talked about that earlier. If you guys missed it, make sure you listen back across all podcast platforms next day. But let's talk about. So let's dive into this. Let's dive into some of the players off this game that we liked and some of the plays maybe that we liked out of this one. So I want to start right away. I want to start with Josh Jacobs. That run that he had on the 3rd and 2, when he just 4 guys just said, "Whoops, where did he go?"
Yeah,
and he was just 21 yards downfield. Just a huge. Nothing was there. Actually, the only guy who actually had a successful block on that play was Josh Wiley. Congratulations, Josh Wiley. You're the only one who had a good block on that play. Everybody else missed. And they all missed. And 4 guys collided, and Josh Jacobs skeeted out of it. And that's the thing, though. That's what I wanted to say. I don't care how you have to do it, whether it's in the run game, whether it's in the pass game. They have to get Josh Jacobs more involved in game plans. Mm-hmm. I know we vouch that for every guy out there on the football field, right? But Josh Jacobs is one of your premier playmakers on your offense. And if you're not involving him in some facet of a way on a drive, it drives me nuts, right? We talk about the defense giving up points in the second half. The defense gave up points in the second half because they were gassed. Your offense went out there, and there was a drive where the Bears went down the field to score, and they cut it to 21 to, I believe it was 21 to 14 at that point there. Or no, yeah, it was 21, must have been 21-14 at that point. And the Packers' ensuing drive, the next drive out, they went 3 plays and punted the football back to the Bears. Now, I'm not a defensive player in the NFL, but I'm going to assume it was after this drive. The Bears went what was this drive here? They went. I'm trying to quick find it here just so I had it right. It was off the punt and they scored a touchdown. They went 7 plays, 30. They were just on the field, just scored. Packers go out, 3 plays, 6 yards, 1:43, punt it back to the Bears. Bears go 17 plays, 83 yards. 8 minutes and 32 seconds. Like, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about, is like the small drives in that second half I thought hurt. And I thought on those drives, you just didn't get your guys involved. I mean, you look at the drives that he had. The first drive there in the third quarter, 3 plays, -11 yards, minute off the clock. Jordan Love, 1st and 10. It was a pass play. Second play, Josh Jacobs run for -1 yards. Third play was a penalty. Fourth play, penalty. Now there's not. I mean, that was on the punt, but nothing really happened there. There's a punt on special teams all the time. There's a penalty on special teams all the time. But anyways, it's just you look at these drives in the second half, and what I'm trying to say is Josh Jacobs is not evolved enough in there, and that's my problem. Is that they don't spice it up a little bit in that second half. The play calling kind of got vanilla for me in the second half, and Josh Jacobs wasn't a focal point in it. And then you finally got to that touchdown drive that they had late in the game, and Josh Jacobs became more involved. Josh Jacobs right tackle for 11 yards. First play of the drive. Goes for 11 yards. Next play was that Jaden Reed hit, and then you got Josh Jacobs up the middle. And then you take Josh Jacobs, short left for 6 yards. And then you got it's just Josh Jacobs. I mean, you're just highlighting Josh Jacobs down the field. And that's what I'm trying to say by this whole thing, is that when you get Josh Jacobs involved, things go right. So that's what I'm trying to say. Get Josh Jacobs more involved within the offense. Amr, who do you got for me? Who do you got for a player that you want to highlight in that one?
I mean, the cool thing was, like, right off the bat, you could tell, like, they wanted to get Jaden Reed involved immediately. Like, they wanted to get him game reps. They wanted to make sure he got a little football energy in him. He hadn't played in, like, 3 months, or 2 months. And so seeing him out there and seeing that he was just as spry as he was week 2, I could tell, like, they were just getting his feet wet. And I feel like you're going to see more and more of an emphasis kind of going with him, Watson, because we saw Wicks have a really good game in Detroit, and then he unfortunately had an ankle injury, so he couldn't really play for most of the game. So then Bo Melton had to come in. So my 2 highlights are Jaden Reed getting his feet wet and looking like he didn't skip a beat from his injuries. And then on top of that, look at Bo Melton coming in and saving an interception that, on that, second half when Jordan throws it up the sideline. And then, of course, having the touchdown as well, too. I just think that the one player that people say that if you listen to Matt LaFleur when he talks about the whole team as a whole, players, he's very, very cliche, very like generic, but he lights up when he talks about Bo Melton. And people think that basically Bo Melton is going to be at Green Bay until he wants to retire. I don't think he's ever going to leave. He's just that kind of dude. He does anything they want him to do, play offense, play defense, play special teams. He's willing to do everything and anything. And then when he does it well. And I feel like on the offense highlighting those 2 guys, because I mean, Josh Jacobs is a monster. I mean, you kind of cleared it up perfectly. Like, you have to get him more. You have to basically almost make him. It's like there's only one football at this point, right? Yep. You give it to Christian Watson, you give it to Jacobs, you give it to Reed. The cool thing is, now that we lost Tucker Kraft, you're starting to see this offense again morph and adapt and find other ways of involving other playmakers, right? So if you do think about it, at the beginning of the season, I mean, Jordan was really out with his number 1 receiver. He lost his number 2 receiver, right? And then he eventually loses his number 1 tight end. And on top of it, the offensive line has had a lot of fluctuation going back and forth with that. And he's been able to kind of weather the storm as best he could. You're starting to see this team really hit its stride at the right time, which is what we kept talking about, right? Yep. All the ups and downs, all the preseason games, you would say in September. Here, they're trying to play their best football at the most important time, which is December, and hopefully January, and then maybe even hopefully February.
100%. And one of the biggest things that I highlighted, and it was what you just mentioned there, was Wicks went out with injury. He was your star last week. He went out with injury.
Yep.
And then it was somebody else this week. And that's what I love so much about this wide receiver core and this offense for the Packers is they have that ability is this week by week it changes. It doesn't have to be Wicks this week. It can be Watson this week. And then it can be Dobbs. Then it can be Reed. And, when Kraft is out there, it was Kraft. And then it's Jacobs. And it's just, you can do
it just keeps
so
going.
much, right? And that's where Matt LaFleur becomes masterful is when he has all that weaponry to work with. He becomes that much better. So I'm completely with you on that. I look over defensive side of the ball. Javian Bullard and Evan Williams out there together right now.
Yep.
Oh my. There was a play, and it relives in my mind all the time, where Williams rolled out to the right. And Bullard, he's back in coverage, kind of playing like a short little zone coverage there. And he saw Williams take off towards the sideline. And he came up and he was like he shot out of a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
And he blew him up down low. Boom. Took him out of the legs. And Williams luckily got the ball out just in time to get rid of it there. But that play, and then seeing Bullard and seeing Williams in the run game, their ability to slow down the run and the hits that they make when they come through that hole.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just wow. I know we have Zay McKinney's there right now, so I don't want to say, but you have two guys that technically Bullard's like fluctuated around being a safety, and then he's a nickel, and then he's everywhere else. I hope that he stays at nickel because he's been fantastic there. But, I mean, you've seen these guys move around a little bit. They got some hard-hitting guys out there in that secondary. I mean, when Nixon actually plays with his head on straight, because he does kind of get goofy on you at times, he has that Jair kind of mood to him there. When he plays with his head on straight, this defense, that secondary, they got some hard hitters out there. And they can get after you, and especially in the run game, I love how they play. So I would have to say Javian Bullard and Williams were another guy for me. Do you got another one for me here, Umar? Who do you got? I mean, do you got another player that you like coming off this one?
Defense, man. I think JJ Enagbare, man, he honestly, his snaps out there need to increase. I know Rashawn Gary, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's injured. His snaps are decreasing. He's going full tilt on the run defense, which I do love. But when it comes to pass rush minus Michael Parsons, I feel like you're seeing the most out of JJ Enagbare. Enagbare is just like he had a 1 sack on Caleb, and he just seems like every time he's on the field, he's just getting shot out of a cannon. I mean, he just looks unstoppable, and I think he's taking full advantage of Parsons being out there and causing all the disruption. And I'm kind of hoping that these new guys that we picked up, literally 700 pounds of meat with Quintana Fanta and Jordan Riley, I'm really hoping they're active this week. So we're going to need them because, the Broncos' offense is, it's a very multifaceted offense. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball. And then Bo Nix he's also very elusive. He can run too. And then, we need to be able to make them as one-dimensional as possible because that defense is good, but they have also been somewhat exposed. Like they're leading the league in sacks. They're going to blow the sack record out of the water when it comes to the team. But like when it comes to other parts of that defense, Patrick Surtain's had a lot of injuries. Riley Moss is one of the guys who I think you can pick on. You just need to really take advantage of the other aspects of their defense that aren't just the front four.
100%. I love that Enagbare one that you had there because there was a 3rd and 1 play that he had where he just grabbed that running back and chucked him, and it was awesome. It was awesome. There, he's got some growing man strength, definitely, and I'd love to. And we're going to discuss this in the future here, but if Rashawn Gary's contract isn't picked up, maybe Enagbare is the guy that you sign back, and you kind of let Rashawn Gary walk. Maybe that's what they try to do there to save a penny there. I don't know what they're going to do there, but Umar, I got to run here. Thank you, as always, for stopping by tonight here. We'll let the people know where to find you out there across social media.
Hey, thanks for having me, as always, bro. You can find me at AMAR3455 on Twitter, all over Instagram, and all that good stuff, too. Also, social media platforms, we're everywhere, man.
Make sure you guys –
Go ahead.
Make sure you guys check them out. Fantastic stuff there across social media. Always talking Packers. Always talking everything in between across social media. So make sure you guys check him out there. He'll be back Saturday here. We got to preview the Broncos game on Saturday on the show here at 10, between 10 and 11. Somewhere Umar will stop by. We'll talk about the Packers there. So thank you as always, Umar. We'll be back here after a quick commercial break. Kyle's going to stop by. We have some college football playoff talk to get to. We have some NFL power rankings. We have our pick 'em for the week. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment here, Kyle stopping by. We're going to talk a little college football playoff. We're going to talk a little NFL. This next segment is brought to you by Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. Expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluation. Just call Chad down there at Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood. He'll get you right doing whatever you are doing, feeling better than ever. So Kyle is here tonight. Kyle, how we doing on this Wednesday?
I'm good. Look, as a sports fan, this is a great time. And as we're going to talk about, like you said, college football playoff. Always a fun debate, discussion. It's just like March Madness. 12 teams get in. Everybody wants to talk about team 13 and 14. So this is just the normal every year thing, but I love it.
100%. You love the madness. You gotta embrace the madness. I don't know what I just did on my computer. I was trying to search up stuff here quick, and I just ended up, there's like emojis that I don't even know how to pull emojis up on this computer here. And all of a sudden I got emojis pulling up, and I'm like, I don't even know how to get out of this now. So there's a whole lot of mess. But Kyle, as always, we got to start right with the Mellow Yellow Minute, and we thought maybe we need to let the people get more personal with Trage, right? They got to get more personal with Trage. So we're going to start doing Trage's top 5. So we're getting into the holiday spirit, right? We're a couple weeks away from Christmas, but we're going to start getting the holiday spirit as we get closer here. And this week, we want to do Trage's top 5 Christmas movies. So I'm going to give Kyle my 5. And if you guys want to be involved in this, hit up the show. Text us, 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. If you get this right before Kyle does, if you can list the top 5 to me before Kyle does, we'll get you a free t-shirt, hat of your choosing, whatever you want there from JBC Screen Printing. So, Kyle, here's my list in no particular order. So don't take any hints by this. No particular order. The Polar Express, A Christmas Story, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Elf, and The Grinch.
Okay. All right. That's a good list. So Polar Express, Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, Elf, and what was the 5th one I'm missing here?
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Grinch, A Christmas Story, Polar Express, and Elf.
Okay. So 5, I will go with, let's go Polar Express.
It is the Polar Express. It is the Polar Express at 5. That was an expert one there, Kyle. What do you got for number 4?
4, this is where we get. No, 4, I'll go with Elf.
It is Elf. It is Elf. That was a good one there. So we got Polar Express 5, Elf 4.
3.
This one's kind of an movie to some people.
Okay, well, I was going to go National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation as 3.
Oh, don't do that to me. No.
I mean, I was just seeing.
The movie at 3 is an to some people. They're like, I could live without it.
Is it Christmas Story?
It is a Christmas story. I got Christmas Story at 3. We have 2 and 1 left, Kyle. We have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and The Grinch 1 and 2. What do you got for me?
So I'll go Grinch 2, Christmas Vacation 1.
You got it. Ding, ding, ding. We got National Lampoon's is my number 1 Christmas movie, followed by The Grinch, then A Christmas Story, Polar Express, Elf, and then Polar Express coming in at number 5. My favorite part of the National Lampoon's Christmas is when the cat is chewing on the lights underneath the chair, and he goes to plug it back into the wall, and then just
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then, the crapper's full and he's like shooting it into the sewer out there. Okay. Yeah. That movie's just fantastic. I got to go watch it when we're done here. But Kyle, we got to talk about the crap fest that was the college football playoff selection, whatever that was. Notre Dame left out. We saw Miami get in. Notre Dame left out. Alabama gets in with 3 losses. BYU gets penalized for losing in their conference championship game. Alabama gets throttled. They don't get penalized. Kyle, I mean, let's start right there with the snubs, as you would say, right? Let's start right with Notre Dame. You go 6 weeks of selection shows and you're in. You go to the final one, you're in. And then all of a sudden when the final one happens, you're out. And neither played a game. Nothing happened. That should have changed it that week. Why did it change? I mean, are you with how Notre Dame, I mean, they're pretty upset. They're not going to a bowl game at all. I mean, they're basically boycotting the whole thing. Are you like, I understand why they're doing that? Or are you more in the camp of they should, get over it? Like you lost your games early on. You should have beat one of those two teams early on. You would have been fine. You didn't. You're not in a conference. Where are you at with that whole thing?
I think the whole boycott thing is just being a sore loser. We had a couple of years ago. Georgia was in the same boat. Georgia felt like they should have been in the playoff. They were left out. They didn't do any of this. All they did was go to the bowl game and destroy Florida State. They beat them like 66 to something. That was the game where like Jordan Travis ended up getting hurt, and that kind of set his career on a different path. But Georgia just took out their frustration on an opponent. That's what Notre Dame should have done. And I get their frustration just in one instance. The fact that they were 10, Miami was 12, and then they get left out. They're well within their right to question that.
Right.
But I think a lot of the questioning about Bama is where I think Notre Dame kind of falls flat, because Notre Dame as an independent, they are solely dependent on their schedule. That's the only thing they have to go by. The only two really statement games on the schedule, they lost Miami, and then they lose to Texas A&M the week after. Now, normally with their schedule, Stanford's usually kind of a ranked team. That helps them out. USC's usually ranked a little higher. That helps them out. BC's not a one-win team. So they actually fell victim to their schedule holding them back more so than Alabama. And look, I get it. Alabama with 3 losses, everybody, SEC bias and everything like that. Unfortunately, the committee didn't forget a couple of weeks ago, Alabama went out to Athens and destroyed the same Georgia team.
Right.
So I think the committee's telling us that Alabama sitting at 9 was kind of highly rated over 10, 11, 12 to the point that loss didn't really matter to the committee. They're going to put Alabama in anyway.
Yeah.
Now, if that game got out of hand and Georgia beat them 72 to nothing, we might have a different story. Now, BYU was on the bubble anyway.
Yep.
They lose to Texas Tech. They get knocked out. That's unfortunate, but that's kind of where we are. So I think for Notre Dame to be acting the way that they are, I'm glad the ACC has come out and talked about them, because Notre Dame's like blaming the ACC for them not getting in, because the ACC, I guess, pumped up Miami. There's a reason why. Miami's a member of the ACC.
Yep.
Notre Dame, you're just an independent that plays nice with the ACC. So Notre Dame needs to go ahead, join the ACC, win the conference, and then we're not talking about this.
Yep.
So that's their biggest problem. They're not going to do it because they make so much money, but if they just
and then you would be admitting if you would have went with Notre Dame over Miami, you're admitting that head-to-head doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter early on, which, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it was early on in the season. I don't care. It happened. Like, it has to count. Otherwise, if it doesn't count, why are you scheduling all these good games for early on in the season? You wouldn't. Nobody would want to play those good games early on, because if you get beat up a couple games of your conference schedule, then look what happens. You're just completely outed, right? Now, Miami did take their bad losses. I will agree. They had some bad losses along the way. They controlled their own destiny. They didn't even make the ACC championship. Some would argue that even winning the ACC championship, even like coming out of the ACC with a good record, isn't that impressive right now, because you just watch a 5-loss Duke team end up winning the ACC championship game. So, and then you penalized Virginia, who lost in their title game, to knock them out of the college football playoff. So it's such a hard game that they're playing. And I think, honestly, can I be honest with you right now? I would just take the best 12 teams in college football and just put them in. I'm sick of I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to make people mad and feel bad with this one. I don't need to see James Madison or Tulane. I don't. You're telling me that you're going to take Tulane to play Ole Miss over Texas, right? Over Notre Dame. You're going to take James Madison to go to Oregon and take on Oregon over Texas, Notre Dame. We're all about money, right? We're all about viewership. Mm-hmm. Don't you want your 12 best teams in college football to be in there? Because otherwise, Kyle, the AP poll, isn't it pretty irrelevant? Honestly, isn't it irrelevant at the end of the day? Because if the AP poll shows me the top 12 is this, but Tulane gets in and they're the 11th seed in the college football playoff, but they're 20th overall in college football, how does that work? Right? How does that end up happening? The AP poll is irrelevant then. So we should just get rid of the AP poll, right? I mean, it's just like these polls that they do are irrelevant in my opinion. Mm-hmm. If this is how you're going to rank the college football playoff, I don't know. Is that crazy to say that? I mean, taking the top 12 teams, is it good for the sport or good for the lesser teams? No, but at the same time, I mean, honestly, knock on wood that nothing crazy. Hopefully James Madison is able to hang around. Hopefully Tulane's able to hang around. But honestly, I think both teams are going to get ran out of the building against Oregon and against Ole Miss. If Ole Miss, everybody shows up because the whole Lane Kiffin situation and everything, I think they're going to get ran out of the building. So it's not going to be good football. I mean, honestly, Kyle, like, is that crazy to think, Kyle, that way?
I mean, James Madison only got in because Virginia lost.
Right.
Virginia wins, they become the 5th conference champion, and Tulane's the only outside of the power group conference champion that gets in. Yep. So I'm fine with smaller schools getting the opportunity. I think college football fans are afraid of it turning into college basketball where you get upsets. I think that makes it more interesting.
I don't know if there will be.
One year, one of these small schools is going to beat a big school, and that's going to be a big deal.
Hard part is just like, I understand that argument. I do. It's just like basketball and football are so much different because basketball, Duke could get, like we saw Duke lose to Lehigh, right? And then we watched UNBC beat Virginia that year. And we've seen Middle Tennessee State beat Michigan State number 2 seed. Like you see these crazy upsets, but it's because a really good team couldn't shoot the ball that day. And a fired up, not so good mid-major team came in there and beat them, right? You could maybe get that in football, but like, honestly, 9 times, probably 10 times out of 10, if I put James Madison on the same field as like Indiana, it ain't going to be a ball game. Like James Madison's a team they schedule for like, we're going to beat you up kind of game, or like a Tulane is like a beat you up kind of game. And you hope that programs like that end up finding a way to do something productive in the college football playoff. And I understand what you're saying. There's like sometimes something like that is going to happen where one of these teams is a surprise, gets a win. I'm hoping for it too. I'm always in that boat where it's like, I always just want to see the best teams and the best games and the best atmospheres. And that's what I want to see. So why not just take the top 12 teams and otherwise get rid of the AP poll? Because the AP poll is stupid then, because it doesn't mean anything. It means nothing to the landscape. If we don't, if this is how you're going to rank it, it means nothing at the end of the day what the AP poll says. So yeah, I'm completely with you on the Notre Dame stuff and everything though, where that I understand, but to take your ball and go home. I understand why you're upset. We get it. And I would be upset too, but if you want to be like that, go take your ball, go home. We're done with you. Like that's it for the season for Notre Dame. So Kyle, let's flip over to the NFL here. Let's run through. We got to run quick here because goodness, we talked college football for so long there. We're running low on time here. Let's talk about our power rankings here for the week, Kyle. So what do you got for me? AFC power rankings for the week.
So AFC is actually kind of the same as last week. Chargers at 5, coming off a good win against the Eagles. I still think that they are a top team in the AFC despite the injuries. I have the Bills at 4. I think the way that they played against the Bengals, especially in the second half, they look like the team that we were used to seeing. I'm keeping the Texans at 3. They're probably the most dangerous team lurking in the AFC right now with that defense. I got the Broncos at 2. They win kind of a nail biter against the Raiders, but I just think they're a good team right now. And I still have the Patriots at number 1, even though they were on a bye. I just kept the AFC the same. Nothing changed for me in the top 5.
You got a 110-point differential there as the Patriots. You're doing something right. That's all I know. And the Bills, the Bills are going to climb here. I'm calling the Bills to climb here a little bit. They look like they turned a corner last week. Yeah. They look like they turned a corner to feeling it again, which I don't know if you count that scary times for the Patriots, but this could be a good game. Like this rivalry in the East is a little bit back now. Like it makes you feel a little better. Do they face off again this next week? They got another matchup here, so that's going to be a good one. I'm surprised that's not. I don't know. Can they flex games yet? No. Yes.
Because Patriots Ravens got flexed to Sunday night.
Okay. Because I was going to say the Bills and Patriots would be one that I would flex because that should be a good game there. But let's jump over NFC, Kyle. What do you got for me in the NFC for your power rankings for this week?
Little bit of shifting in the NFC. Number 5, I have the Niners. They're still getting wins despite being beat up. I moved the Bears up to 4 despite the loss to the Packers. What I like from the Bears is they seemingly can run the ball now with 2 guys, Swift and Monangai. I think in January that's going to be pivotal for them. I have the Seahawks at 3. They blew out the Falcons. Falcons aren't that good of a team. I just think 1 and 2 are slightly better. I think the NFC is kind of separating between the top 3 here. I moved the Packers to 2. Jordan Love against the Bears. And some of the throws he made, you get that Jordan Love. Packers are a dangerous offense. And you have Micah Parsons hounding opposing quarterbacks. I think the Packers could, start to really establish themselves down the stretch here. I have the Rams at number 1. I think they may be the most complete team offensively and defensively, even though defensively, I still think you can throw the ball on them a little bit, but Stafford's playing really well. They're getting the production from Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. Like they're a tough team. So that's how I have the NFC right now.
I'm right with you. Rams, Packers. And then, I'd throw probably the Seahawks into that spot there. And then after that, you have Bears, 49ers. That's about it. Everything else. And like you said, it's starting to kind of separate itself as we can see in the NFC there. 100% agree with you there. So, Kyle, we got to hit our pick 'em real quick here. We got to go fast. We're running low on time. Kyle, for this week here, I think I went first last week. I think I lost again too, so it doesn't even matter at this point here. I'm just terrible at this point. I'm sorry. I'm letting everybody down in my pick'ems. But Kyle, who do you got this week? Who's going to be your first pick here in week 15?
All right, first pick. I mean, this team is now looking at Phillip Rivers as a potential quarterback in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Give me the Texans over the Colts. I just think that's an easy one for me.
Texans over the Colts. Kyle's got Texans over the Colts. I am going to take give me my gimme too. Give me the Bears. Oh, I don't even know if I like that one. No, hold on. I don't know if I like that one. Give me the Bengals to beat the Ravens. I'll take that one.
Okay. I could see that one. So next, I will go probably a game a couple of weeks ago I would not have won on Monday night. But I'm going to take the Steelers to stop the suddenly hot Dolphins on Monday night.
They had to find it eventually. They had to find something out there, and they did. Give me the Seattle over the Colts. Give me Seattle over the Colts.
Okay.
One last one, Kyle. Who do you got?
Let's see. I get right because you said Seattle over the Colts. I think I said Texans over the Colts. Texans over the Cardinals was my first one, but either way.
Good enough.
Yeah, my third one. I'm gonna take the Bucks backs against the wall over the Falcons.
I like that one. Give me. There's a lot. The rest of these are pretty. Give me the Commanders to beat the Giants. No, give me the Giants. I'm going to take the Giants to win that one over the Commanders there. Should be a terrible game. Okay. Let's do it. Kyle, thank you as always for stopping by tonight here. Let the people know where to find you out there across social media.
YouTube and Facebook, chomping at the bit. You'll find the links to my other socials through that. Oh, that's the easiest way to find it.
Make sure you guys check them out. Fantastic stuff there. NBA, NFL, MLB stuff when it happens. Kyle's going to be covering it there at Chomping at the Bit. Thank you as always, Kyle. We're going to come back from the break. The guys from Wisco Fanatics will be hopping out. We're going to talk some Bucks on the backside of the ad break. We'll be right back here. On the Go with Trade. I'm your host, Trade, as we come back at you on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment is brought to you by Foreman's Hardware. They offer you everything from home essentials to farm supplies, house to farm, grills to drills. Foreman's Hardware has got you covered. Visit today in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin. Tell them I sent you. Tell them Trade sent you. Get 5% off your purchase. Nothing better right now. You might need some salt. We got some storms coming into the area. You might need some salt. You might need a new shovel. Maybe you need a snowblower. They got snowblowers. Check them out there. Foreman's Hardware in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin there. So I got the guys back tonight here from Wisco Fanatics. How are we doing on this Wednesday, fellas?
Fantastic, man. How you doing?
Oh, doing fantastic. Like I said, though, the weather has been crappy over these past couple days. But hey, it's winter. That's what we expected. We love this. We don't love the snow. We hate the snow anyways, but that's okay. We know when cold weather gets here, that means basketball's happening, NBA, college, everything like that. So it makes it all better. So right away, we want to hit our Foreman's Hardware. Who has to bring the tools to an upcoming matchup here coming up this week? So I'll start with you, Jake. Who do you got for me? Who needs to bring the tools to an upcoming matchup?
I have Matt LaFleur. You have 3 straight division wins. You're back on top of the NFC North. You're going on the road to face the number 1 seed in the AFC right now, a team that's on fire, that's won 10 straight. You're also favored going into that game. You're favored by 2.5 points going into that game. So Vegas believes in this Packers team. Let's make everybody in America believe in you. Matt LaFleur, it's time to shine, buddy.
I like that one. Tyler, who do we got? Who needs to bring the tools?
John Horst. There are
right.
a group of players that the Milwaukee Bucks will be eligible to trade starting on Monday, December 15th. John Horst is going to have his hands full on the phones starting on Monday.
All right. I like that one. I'm going to go. I always go Badgers, it seems. I'm going to go with Nolan Winter defensively for the Badgers coming up against Nebraska, because Rank Mast has been fantastic for Nebraska this season here. He's averaging 18 a game. He's been great. We know this. We've seen him. He was at Bradley, I believe, when the Badgers played them way back. What was that NIT tournament or whatever you call it there? I believe he was at Bradley for that. Yeah, he was. He was there. He was at Bradley. So that's where the Badgers first saw him, was in that NIT tournament. Now he's at Nebraska. He's playing well for him. It's going to be on Nolan Winter and probably an Austin Rapp to slow him down. I just don't think Bielakowskis will be out there much on the perimeter with him. So I think it's going to be on Nolan Winter and Rapp to kind of control him out there. So that's who I got, is Nolan Winter defensively for the Badgers coming up against Nebraska here this week. So we got to dive right into the Bucks. And I want to start right there. Tyler, you said something interesting to me right off the bat. Those guys on the trade block that you believe going on Monday here.
Yep.
What do you think? Who are those guys to you? And are you pushing to trade them? Are you like, I don't know about that? What do you think?
So the first name that's obviously going to come to mind for a lot of Bucks fans is going to be Bobby Portis. And I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit when we get into some of the things that we're going to discuss as far as players are concerned. But Bobby Portis is going to be the first one, just because his salary is going to make things easier to make trades with other teams, whether it's the Kings or the Pelicans, or if the Warriors still want to get back in on him and the Bucks are going to acquire something else they use to flip that. So Bobby Portis would be the first one that I would say. Cole Anthony, Amir Coffey, Gary Harris, Kevin Porter Jr., Torian Prince, Jericho Sims, Gary Trent Jr., and Miles Turner all become eligible on December 15th. But Bobby Portis and probably Cole Anthony, I think, would be the guys to watch the most for potentially being traded starting on Monday.
Jake, what do you think? You agree with that?
I definitely agree with the Bobby Portis portion of it. He's a guy that when he's in the right situation, he's playing right. He's a guy that can rebound. He hasn't done that for us so far this year. He can hit outside shots, and he plays with a lot of heart, and that's something that some teams desperately need. His time in Milwaukee just might be coming to an end. His voice might be fading. That happens sometimes. It happens to coaches. Why can't it happen to players? So I think that Bobby Portis is definitely somebody that should and could be on the move. Cole Anthony, definitely after the last couple of games that we've seen, is somebody I could see getting moved. He's not very expensive, and people always need ball handling. So I agree with both those guys.
And the Bucks really aren't using him. So even if they flip him for like a second-round pick, I mean, that's still something.
Yep.
I was going to ask you guys that. So do you believe the Bucks kind of need a reset? Because they don't, I believe they don't control their first round pick for, isn't it until like 2031 or so? Am I wrong there? But do you believe that maybe they need to kind of reset with some youth, kind of get younger kind of thing?
So they got significantly younger in the offseason. That's part of what getting rid of Brook Lopez and bringing in Miles Turner does for you. Also, unfortunately, letting go of Chris Middleton helps you get younger. Letting go of Damian Lillard helps you get younger. And then bringing in, guys like Amir Coffey. Even Gary Harris is younger than some of those guys. But with that, I don't think that they necessarily need to rebuild or reset, like a full rebuild. Because the thing is that the years that other teams have the right to swap with the Bucks still get a first-round pick that year. So, the Bucks can trade those picks on draft day. They just can't trade them before then. But the attitude that the Bucks have no picks is just wrong. They just don't have control of those picks because other teams have the right to swap, which could happen. Even if the Bucks say finish in the middle of the pack, they finish the 15th pick, and the Hawks have the right to swap it, and the Hawks are going to have the 25th pick, the Bucks still get a pick. It's not that they don't get to add a player that year. It's just that they don't get to have the rights to the pick. So it's not that they don't have picks, like I said, but they just don't control them. They do, however, by getting under the second apron with that Chris Middleton trade, have access to trading their 2031 first-round pick. So they have assets they could attach to a guy like Bobby Portis or Cole Anthony to get a deal done to bring somebody in. So it's not like all hope is lost here for the Bucks or anything like that. Like, they have options still, and John Horst has shown that he can do some unexpected things.
Right. That was the big thing, I guess, is what a lot of people that I've been listening to, talking to, have been saying is, they don't have a pick. They don't have a pick. And yeah, thank you for clearing that up, where they do have a pick. It's just they don't control that pick. It's going to be swapped. It's going to be that. So yeah, okay, that makes sense there. So, Jake, anything you wanted to add to that?
So I don't think that they need a reset. If you look at the East this year, it's still pretty wide open. Even the Pistons, who the Bucks have hung with, they actually beat them this last week, and then they hung in there pretty good in their last game that they played. They lost by 12 points, yes, but a guy like Ryan Rollins was in foul trouble early. That hurts his efficiency. They didn't have AJ Green, so that's two missing pieces, obviously, without the big guy, right? Without Giannis. So if they're hanging in there against the best team in the East, as I do some air quotes here, I think that they still have a fighting chance when 34 comes back and number 20 comes back. And, if Ryan Rollins isn't in foul trouble, if you're able to flip a guy like Bobby Portis, we were talking about trades before, for another wing defender, I think that goes a long way. Another thing you have to take into consideration is they don't have Taurean Prince right now, who could be that wing defender. So there's a lot of moving parts that have to happen, but do I think they need a reset or to get a lot younger? No, I don't. We have two young guards who have been doing good. Miles Turner isn't super old. Kuzma's a pretty, he's a middle of the age kind of guy. But, I think the Bucks are right there, actually, for all the doom and gloom guys. I think the Bucks are actually pretty close to competing in the East this year.
And they're not strapped financially like they have been in previous years either.
Right. And they just got to stay healthy. Giannis hasn't been on. You can't get Giannis and KPJ on the court at the same time. That's the problem. They've been on the court, one time together, and they won the game, right? So, you get them on the court at the same time, good things might happen. I completely agree. So, you guys kind of mentioned it in there. Okay, so you like the Bucks kind of sitting pat right now, maybe moving a guy like Bobby Portis for assets, maybe moving a guy like, who's the other? Cole Anthony for assets there. But Giannis is going to be out for a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? What do you guys think the Bucks have to do in these upcoming weeks to try and salvage the games that they can, keep pace a little bit there until Giannis comes back, and then you can attack. Then you can go at it there with your star. What do you guys think they have to do in the coming weeks here?
I would say if they can get through December anywhere near 500, they'll be in not a terrible spot. If you look at the Eastern Conference playoff standings, the Bucks, yes, are technically in the 10 seed right now, so they're looking at the play-in at 10 and 15. But the thing is, like, you look at what separates them, and looking at games back. It's a 4.5 games separates the Bucks from fourth place. 5 games separates the Bucks from Toronto, who are currently in fourth place. That could be made up in January. If the Bucks get Giannis back on New Year's Eve and trade Bobby Portis and a pick for Herb Jones and go into January and win 10 out of 15 games that month, get over 500, that's still gives you February, March, and the first couple games that you have in April to still build on that. Like, I don't think people really realize that we're only like 30% of the way into the season. So there's still a lot of games to be played left.
People just see Giannis out and immediately lose their minds. Yeah, because it's like when you lose your star, what do you do, right? What do you do? It looked like this when he was there, so what's it going to look like when he's gone? It's just going to get worse. So they don't know how to react when they lose a star. So yeah, Tyler's telling you, just simmer down, relax, right? As the great Aaron Rodgers once told us, relax. So Jake, what are your thoughts on it? How did they get through this Giannis-less basketball here in the next couple weeks?
Yeah, so I'll repeat something that my buddy has said on the show, is that there was a lot of Bucks fans that joined the bandwagon in 2017 when Giannis won that Most Improved Player, and I 100% agree with that sentiment. And my thought, and I was just talking about it, is you got to stay within striking distance, right? So if they get to that 6 or 7 spot, they stay, top play-in spot or right outside the play-in, and then you get 34 back and you start going on the run later in the year. That's how these championships are won in every league now, is just getting hot at the right moment, right? So if the Bucks can sit around that 6 seed, maybe get up to the 5 or 4 seed, like Tyler was breaking down the numbers, I think they have a shot because we have the best player in the conference. If he stays healthy, the Bucks have a shot.
Survive until he returns. That's all you can do. Survive until he returns. Win when you can. I mean, you got Brooklyn, you got Boston coming up, Brooklyn, Toronto. That's 3 games where I'm not going to say like they're sure things because nothing's a sure thing, but those are winnable games. And that's what you guys are saying. Those are winnable games that you have coming up here in the month of December. Survive until Giannis comes back. And then when he does, there you go. Go full-fledged. Then hopefully everybody else, knock on wood, stays healthy.
We can talk about this after when we get into next week too. But I mean, after they play Minnesota on Sunday the 21st, their next games for the rest of the month, give it 4 out of these 5 are road games, but it's Pacers, Grizzlies, Bulls, Hornets, Wizards.
That's a run.
Those are all winnable games, even if you're playing without Giannis. Even if you give Giannis the rest of the month off, you can absolutely win 6 out of these next 9 games.
100%. 100%. I mean, you go into January, they are all some winnable games along that stretch. So I completely agree with you there. So let's talk a little bit more about Giannis, because as we've all known and we've discussed in the past and everything, these trade rumors between what Shams reports and then what Windhorst comes on and reports. And then Windhorst comes out and says, never mind, what I said a day ago wasn't really true. It's this. And it's like, okay, well, you don't backtrack on the story. Now you look even worse, but that's to each their own, whatever. What are your thoughts on what, I don't want to say what ESPN is doing, but what those guys are doing at the mothership there, where they're kind of spreading this nonsense, spreading rumors where it's not really news. It's just smoke. There's no fire. It's just smoke. You're just burning ashes at this point here. There's nothing there. It's just a rumor that Giannis wanted out, yet Giannis has never said that. I mean, we can start, Jake. What are your thoughts on what's been going on there? Windhorst, Shams, spreading whatever this is at this point.
I feel like I want to go first because I know Tyler has way more deeper thoughts on this than I do. First thing I'll say is Tyler's going to sound redundant when he says this, but ESPN is literally the only people that are trying to trade Giannis. Nobody else is reporting that Giannis has requested a trade or Giannis wants out or Giannis wants this, Giannis wants that. Nobody else is putting words in Giannis's mouth. Now, when you get to a report that Chris Haynes did, and he talked about how Giannis how there's a wall in front of him and he wants to run through the wall and he wants to make it work. Yeah, that sounds like a guy that wants to be here. I don't know about you, but I don't usually run through walls on purpose for no reason, right? And then to the reports about people had speculation when Giannis deleted stuff on his social media. So I just heard about this today as well. I thought it was interesting. Giannis said that he deleted this stuff because he thought he was putting too much of his personal life out there. So people were reading into it that he wanted to leave the Bucks. He's just trying to protect his family and his likeness. He's talked about this in the past as well, where he wants to follow the Tim Duncan playbook, where he wants to, go away and disappear, quote unquote, after his playing career. He wants to be a Buck. So Shams coming out with this stuff, Windhorst coming out with this stuff. They're just media puppets at this point. I'm sorry if this is going to sound a little harsh, but that I have a lot more harsh words I can say. But the way that I feel about it is ESPN is like, hey, we need a news cycle. We need to talk about getting Giannis out of here. We need a big market guy in New York. We just forced Luka Doncic over to LA. So we need one guy to market over here, one guy to market over here, and then we'll figure it out in the middle area. I think that's garbage in my personal opinion, but it is what it is. I'm going to let Tyler break this down.
He was so upset he had to mute his mic. That's how upset he was.
Dude.
He's like, I have to hold it in. I have to mute my mic here before I go nuts, is what he was doing up there.
I wanted to find the exact quotes because I want to give the exact quotes as they are reported from the sources and from Giannis's mouth. Before I do that, I'm going to jump in on what Jake said about it being garbage, the way that ESPN is handling it. And here's the thing, is I'm arriving to this point where we're seeing that even though Windhorst and Shams are saying that, this is a rumor. He asked for this. Oh, just kidding. No, he didn't ask for this. On that point is they don't even have to actually get him to the big market if they just keep talking about him maybe going to a big market, because that's still getting them the clicks. At this point, it's getting to a point where it doesn't even matter if he gets traded because all they do is talk about him getting traded anyways.
Right.
So the two quotes that Jake is referring to, one of them coming from Chris Haynes. This came out last Thursday. This was unfortunately the day after Giannis got hurt. Talking about how guys see things and they want to go around obstacles, and then quotes Giannis saying, I see a wall and I want to run through the wall and make things work. That doesn't at all sound like a guy who requested a trade over the summer. Then Mark Stein comes with a report just a couple days ago saying that Mark Stein says the Bucks are still signaling to teams that they aren't trading Giannis, that they're not even listening to offers. The quote from Mark Stein is, the Bucks continue to tell teams he's not available. We don't want your trade pitches. The Bucks keep saying we don't want to talk Giannis trades, but the rest of the league just ignores it. So it seems like the NBA quote-unquote front offices are watching ESPN, but not actually listening to people. They're just like, oh, Shams said there's rumors about Giannis maybe wanting to leave the Bucks because they're struggling. That's people just choosing to not use their brains and just thinking like, oh, the Bucks are struggling, I'll go trade for the worst team's best player.
Right.
Like it's Madden. Like it doesn't work that way. You don't just go and look at the teams that have the worst records and be like, who's their best player? Okay. The Bucks are 10-15. Who's their best player? Let's go get Giannis out of Milwaukee. He's the best player on a team with a bad record. And just assume that he's available because the team isn't playing great right now.
100%. I can't even add it. Jake, you got anything to add to that? I got nothing to add to that.
I don't really have anything to add to that. That's why I wanted Tyler to go last, because I knew he was going to put a nice little bow on it.
He put the bow on it, and he put the bow on the day for us. I got to run here, fellas. Let the people know where to find you guys out there across social media.
Yeah, so Wisco Fanatics, we are live on Tuesday evenings at 8 o'clock to cover the Green Bay Packers, and then on Wednesday afternoons starting at 4, sometimes earlier depending on our basketball schedule, that Jake and I are playing basketball together now. But on Wednesdays, we cover the Milwaukee Bucks, the Wisconsin Badgers basketball and football teams, and the Milwaukee Brewers. So Tuesday evenings and Wednesday afternoons on Facebook, YouTube are the two best places to watch, and then interact on Facebook and Twitter.
Make sure you guys check them out. They have fantastic stuff, fantastic breakdowns of everything between the Packers to the Bucks and everything in between. Thank you guys, as always, for stopping by tonight here. We'll be back here after the quick commercial break. We're going to wrap it up for the day on the backside of the ad break. Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here and wrap it up for the day on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment is brought to you by Peggy Sue with Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Peggy Sue knows the area and the market, dedicated to powering your property goals with proven strength. Make sure you check her out there and give her a call down there at Century 21 Gold Key Realty. So, great day today. We had an awesome show. If you guys missed any of it, make sure you guys check us out next day across all podcast platforms, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Like, follow, subscribe across all social media platforms, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade in some facet. You can find us out there. You can also find us here Wednesdays. I know this week we started at 4. It was 4 to 6. Next week we'll be back to our normal time, 5 to 7. So make sure you guys check us out next week there. And Saturdays from 10 to 11 a.m. we are on right here, 92.3 WOSQ. And like I said, next day across all podcast platforms with all that stuff. You can find our shorts or our clips from the show across TikTok and YouTube and all that crazy stuff out there. I don't know. I upload it to an app and it sends it out there and does the work for me. That's all you need to know about that. So, like I said, great show today. We talked Packers, Bears. I thank everybody for stopping by tonight here to talk about that kind of stuff. Packers, Broncos coming up this weekend. We'll be talking about that Saturday here on the show. Badgers coming up tonight, taking on Nebraska. We'll recap that game on Saturday for you here on the show. So with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trades. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your Wednesday. But until I talk to you guys again on Saturday, see ya.